Welcome, folks. It is Wednesday, August the 27th. This is Hurricane Hub Live. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandajis. And tonight on HHL, we're still talking about Fernan. It's lingering out there. It's the little storm that could. Still not expected to impact anybody, but it is hanging on for dear life. Aside from that, the Atlantic looks to remain quiet, dormant, if you will, right through Labor Day, probably that entire week as well, as overall we're in an unfavorable phase across most of the Atlantic basin, kind of quelling any tropical systems from getting their act together, despite ocean temperatures obviously very warm and other factors in play. We just don't have the large-scale rising motion that we would need to kind of help to kick along some of these storms to develop. So for now, it will remain quiet, and we'll appreciate that because things will probably get a lot more active as we approach the peak of the season right around September the 10th. I mean, August, you can go either way. It can ramp up in activity, or you can have a period of quiet weather like we had last August. If you remember, there was like a 3-week period where there was nothing cooking out there in the Atlantic, and then all of a sudden it was like flipping a switch. And of course, the second part of the season was very, very busy. I think leading up to it, we had about 5 named storms up to this point last year, and then we ended up with 18 total. So there were 13 more named storms out there from now through the end of the season in 2024. All right, here's a look at Fernan. 50-mile-per-hour winds, so stronger from when we talked yesterday, when it was only at 40-mile-per-hour winds. It's not much to look at. On satellite imagery, it's almost a naked swirl here. It's being impacted by some pretty strong southwest shear, dry air, low-level circulation exposed, any convection, if any, there's not really much at all, is displaced off to the north and east there. But it is moving east-northeast and expected to, again, not impact anybody. It hasn't impacted anybody in its entire lifespan, but it'll be around kicking probably for another 12 hours or so before it goes post-tropical, loses its tropical characteristics, and passes well to the northwest of the Azores. You see there off of the North Atlantic. All right, elsewhere in the tropical Atlantic, we've got what's left here of a wave that was tagged originally as Invest 99L as it was coming off the coast of Africa. At one point had 50-50 odds of becoming our next named system, which, by the way, the next name is Gabrielle. Now it's in the Western Caribbean and moving over land. So now it's just a disorganized cluster of thunderstorms, pretty strong squalls there too, but not going to be causing any issues in terms of a tropical storm developing out of it. We'll see if that energy even builds over into the Eastern Pacific and maybe it gets going there, a little more favorable in the environment off of the Eastern Pacific. Now, we've got another very robust tropical wave coming off the coast of Africa. Now, models don't do too much with this over the coming days as, again, overall environmental conditions to the west, not all that favorable. Another cluster of some storms here, kind of detaching itself from the intertropical convergence zone farther to the south. Maybe some of that pinches on off and drifts north. But again, model's not doing a whole lot with any of these clusters developing. So for the next 7 days, looking like the tropical Atlantic will remain quiet. But again, it's after that that may cause some issues. Here's the long-range outlook. I've showed you this last couple evenings. Climate Prediction Center does put outlooks out 2 and 3 weeks in advance. So this takes us to September 3rd through 9th, so Labor Day week. And the low chances here of some development. A low is around 20% chance of some sort of tropical development here in the main development region. Notice, though, we hit the 10th and go through the middle of September, and things start to get a little more active, at least on the long range. This goes up to medium odds, moderate odds, 40% and higher of some tropical development in the main development region. Then also starts to highlight Southern Gulf, Western Caribbean here for a Central American gyre to get going. And sometimes these can pinch off pieces of energy and kind of eject them out into a favorable environment, which would be the very warm waters of the Gulf, the very warm waters of the Western Caribbean. And if we get overall favorable lifting, we could see something develop out of there. That'd be like a close-to-home development that wouldn't give you much lead time here, especially if it's in the Gulf and drifting to the north. So we'll watch it by the middle of the month. Nothing out there to monitor at this time. All the action is found out in the Central and Eastern Pacific, where we still have Juliet. It's a tropical storm. This is the 10th named system, I believe, out in the Eastern Pacific. We've got one right behind it. This one may be Kiko. Developing, and another piece of energy here that's got a low odd in the yellow of developing. So again, the next name on the list would be Kiko, and then Lorena if those areas of interest do get going here in the short term. All right, folks, coming up after a quick break, we've been highlighting anniversaries of major hurricane landfalls this week. And of course, the big one is the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina's landfall. That comes on Friday. We're going to take a different perspective on the storm from Biloxi, Mississippi. A report coming from there right after the quick break. Welcome back to Hurricane Hub Live. Yesterday, we walked you through what St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana looked like 20 years ago when Hurricane Katrina made landfall. Today, we take you to Biloxi, Mississippi, a town that saw a devastating 28-foot storm surge that destroyed multiple buildings, bridges, and casinos. Mike McDaniel at our sister station WWL has a story.
In the early hours of August 29, 2005, Biloxi, Mississippi woke up to a nightmare.
They had 28 feet of water.
Hurricane Katrina wasn't just a storm, it was a wall of water.
28 feet of water is a lot of water.
Katrina erased what generations had built, the coast's heartbeat, its homes, businesses, and casinos. Much of it wiped away in hours.
It was so long. The event was so long. This was from 6 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, and the massive amount of water and you know, the sustained winds that took so long.
This wasn't just wind and rain. This was the Gulf rising up. Entire neighborhoods vanished. And when the water finally receded...
Look at the devastation.
You can see those were all buildings. There's nothing left.
It doesn't reveal itself till you get out.
Biloxi's mayor, Andrew Fofo Gillich, was elected in 2015. He says destruction still echoes along the Mississippi coast and in every corner of his city's recovery.
We've had a $344 million Katrina recovery infrastructure where it built deep sewer, storm drain, water and sewer.
Tourism, once Biloxi's backbone, fell silent. Gillich says nearly 19,000 jobs tied to casinos disappeared.
Hotels and small craft harbors and boats and entertainment, it was all here. And then almost overnight wiped out.
Just off Highway 90 in the Biloxi town green stands a solemn reminder of what else the storm took.
This is sort of a remembrance of some of the people that lost their lives here.
The Katrina Memorial is etched with the names of those who died and those still missing.
Just to give you an idea of how high the water got at this spot here in Biloxi, that red marker up there, that's Hurricane Katrina, when storm waters got 22 feet above sea level. In fact, there were waves reported to be at least 10 feet higher than that. Now, the marker below it, the light blue, that's Hurricane Camille, when storm surge got to 19.5 feet. That was in 1969.
Grief and recovery haven't been easy.
I'll scan that ticket for you.
But in 2020, on the 15th anniversary of the storm,
All right, you guys have a wonderful visit.
something new opened down the highway in Gulfport, a shimmering sign of life, the Mississippi Aquarium.
We wanted to show the significance of opening a project like this. So we picked the 15th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina to really kind of showcase where the Gulf Coast was and where we're going. And this is just another example of the resiliency of the people on the Gulf Coast.
Built on 3 pillars, education, conservation, and community, the aquarium replaced the marine life oceanarium that was destroyed by the storm. It was a nostalgic place where generations connected their lives to the water.
After Katrina, it was one of those things that the coast wanted to bring back.
The aquarium didn't just restore a piece of coastal identity, it became a symbol of something more, rebirth.
We've been able to really bring the community together behind a project that nobody thought was going to happen.
The $103 million project helped reignite local development all along the coast.
It's small things like coffee shops and hotels and lots of different restaurants that have popped up because we're able to attract 1 million people in 5 years.
Katrina's lessons live inside the design.
What happened during Katrina was thought about. So the elevation that we're standing at, the design of the buildings, evacuation plans were all built into the original concept of the aquarium.
Next door, a building damaged by Katrina will soon open as a hotel, part of the ripple effect.
We were the catalyst to a lot of different projects.
Katrina changed everything. It took lives, homes, history, and nearly erased parts of the Mississippi coast. It also revealed something deeper.
Everything's changed.
Building codes have tightened. Construction has been slow and steady, but impacts are still here. They're seen in areas that never rebuilt, memories of loved ones lost, and the determination for communities to continue with recovery.
We never want another Katrina to happen, but we want to be prepared for anything Mother Nature has to throw at us.
From near ruin, the Mississippi coast has found its rhythm again, and in the heart of it all, a place where sea life and human resilience swim side by side. Mike McDaniel, WWL, Louisiana.
And stick around, Tropical Trivia is next. Welcome back to Hurricane Hub Live. Tropical Trivia, last night's question, August 29th, as you know, is the anniversary of Katrina, this year being the 20th. Hurricane Isaac also made landfall on August the 29th, and so did this other hurricane. Which was it? Laura, Gert, Ida, or Delta? Correct answer is Ida, and it is very concerning to see this map. 3 separate storms, 2 of which major hurricanes making landfall in the same area on the same day, just spread out by years. So first was Katrina, obviously, in 2005, and then Isaac was a Category 1 in 2012, and then Ida more recently back in 2021. That was actually the strongest storm. Made landfall as a Category 4 before it lifted inland. All of these storms impacting southern Louisiana and New Orleans. So we've got the anniversary coming up on Friday this week. All right, folks, that's it for Hurricane Hub Live. We'll see you back here and every night at 8 p.m. for the latest on the tropics. Have a good night.